You're listening to another episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, and I'm your host, Jason Swenk, where we believe that having the right systems in place will allow you to grow and scale your agency a lot easier than being able to struggle and just try to get by. And if you want to grow your agency faster and really want the support and resources you need, I want you to go to the agency.university. It's a unique mentorship where we're going to provide you the resources and support of working directly with me and be able to ask me questions live every 2 weeks so we can actually speed up your learning curve and actually help you get the answers you need a hell of a lot quicker. So I want you to go to agency.university now. That's agency.university. Now, on the masterclass, I have an amazing guest on the show, Amy Porterfield, and she is the queen of Facebook. And we're going to talk about how you can use Facebook Live in order to generate more awareness, more leads. And I'm real excited about having Amy on the show. All right, welcome to the show, Amy.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I gotta admit, so when I sold my agency, I went to a Tony Robbins event. I didn't meet you at the Tony Robbins event, but I was put on to, like, they sent out Money Masteries, like DVDs, because I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do with my life after I sold the agency like everybody. And I came across Frank's stuff and started watching Frank's stuff, and then I think Frank's stuff led me toward yours. And then I took a course of yours from that you did with David about Facebook marketing. I was like, what is this?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so I was like, what is this Facebook marketing thing? Is this going to be big? Because I'm used to doing everything with AdWords, which, you know, a lot of agencies still are in the AdWords space. And so I started following you from there, and I was like, you know, man, I wish I knew that when I was running the agency. So then I started applying a lot of those concepts in order to build this business. So I just wanted to thank you publicly for helping me out there.
So cool. I love all those connections. So wait, did you say you got the new Money Masters DVD?
Yes. And the first one was Frank's.
Frank's.
Yes.
Okay, that is just so crazy because my start was all around hearing these guys on the new Money Masters, this product I worked on while I was still at Tony Robbins. Mm-hmm. And I started hearing their stories and I'm like, what are they doing? How are they doing it? I need a piece of this. So that is so funny that that's how you and I got connected eventually down the road. So yeah. I love stories like that.
Yeah. And the same thing was with Frank. So like I started watching him when he had the surfer haircut and all that. And I was like, you got the perfect personality. And so then I started working with him, and then I started helping him build his agency as well. So it was kind of pretty cool how it all kind of came full circle.
So cool. So you and I kind of were doing the same kind of stuff around the same time. I remember when he was creating that agency. So I love that there's so many parallels there.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Well, so for the people that don't know who you are, why don't you tell them a little bit of a backstory of like who you are, what you do, and how you got started, because you have a real unique story.
So I started my marketing career really at Harley-Davidson motorcycles. At a dealership level, I got to work on so many of their marketing campaigns during their 100th anniversary, which was so very cool. I'm not a biker chick, but my dad was a biker. So I love that nostalgia of Harley-Davidson. So I started working there, learned so much. And around that time, I had watched a Tony Robbins infomercial. I mean, truth be told, I had broken up with a boyfriend and I was devastated and couldn't sleep at night. And so I kept seeing these infomercials at 3 a.m. and I thought, who is this guy?
He's all over the place.
All over the place. So I literally bought one of his products, started listening, fell in love with the content around making my life better and creating a business and all this good stuff. So I started listening, and in true fashion, when I like something in those days, I want to work with it. So Harley-Davidson, I went to work there. Tony Robbins, I ended up getting a job there. And I traveled the world for 6.5 years and got to work one-on-one pitching and catching content with Tony Robbins, which was amazing. And so, I mean, he's the mastermind behind all the content, but I got to be part of creating it and making it into digital products and physical products. It was just amazing.
I would have given my left arm.
Right?
Maybe
I
even
mean,
part of my right one.
I will say it was the most stressful job in the whole world because he's an intense guy. Like what you see on stage is who he is all the time. There's no fakeness there. And so because of that, it was a really intense job. But around that time, speaking of Frank Kern, he had this he wanted to get more into digital launches. So he brought in all these internet marketers, and I knew nothing of internet marketing at the time. And so he brought in Frank Kern, Brendan Burchard, Jeff Walker, Eben Pagan, like big names in the industry. They sat around this table and he went around one by one and they told of the story of their business, how they make money, and really what they talked about is their lifestyle. I was literally in that meeting taking notes. That's the only reason I got invited to the table. And I wasn't even at the main table. I was at a side table. And I'm just taking notes. And I probably took the worst notes in the world because I'm looking at these guys like, who's this guy, Frank Kern, in flip-flops and a t-shirt with a surfer haircut? Not anymore, but back in the day. Like, what the heck? So I got the bug that I wanted to do what they were doing. I had no idea how they were doing it. So I moved over to the marketing department. Tony Robbins' company is amazing. They allow you to transition like that. I learned everything about online launching. And about a year after that meeting, I went on my own and started my own business with the intention of creating online training programs, but I didn't really know how to do that. So I did a lot of social media consulting in the early days. And then I gradually figured out this online course thing. And now my entire business, the only way I make money is selling online courses, whether they're my own or a few affiliate partners as well. So I don't do any consulting, coaching services or anything like that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I would give it my left arm. Like
It was amazing.
one of my lists on the bucket list is just to
Yeah.
meet Tony, right? Or
One
or at
day
least
it's gonna
get to that
happen
level
for
of
ya.
him interviewing me or me interviewing him.
Oh, I like it.
Right?
Next time he does a big book tour, I bet you could definitely get him on your podcast.
Oh,
I mean,
I'd
you've
love
got a great
to.
podcast. It can happen.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to. It's definitely a yes until they say no. For
Right. And you got to put it out in
whenever
the
you
universe.
stop asking.
Yes, exactly.
So, well, cool. Well, I want to talk about Facebook Live because there is so much opportunity there, and I got to be honest too. I'm not the best at this, right? I mean, it's probably goes back to when I first started doing my videos. Like, if you go back on my first video on YouTube, I look like a hostage, right? Like green screen. You know, the lighting was bad, the audio was awful. I didn't know what I was talking about. So, and I feel a lot of people probably feel the same way about Facebook Live because
Oh, yeah.
there is no editing. It is raw. You can make mistakes. So, you know, how do people get their start?
I'm so glad you're asking me, a girl that kind of hates video. I mean, there's never going to be a day I'm going to wake up and say, I get to be on video. Even when I heard this was video, I was like, oh, all right, I'll do it. It's just because you're right. There's this kind of overwhelm and stress related to video. Even this is recorded, but still you're on video and it feels incredibly vulnerable in so many ways. Not to even mention the frickin' technology like the lighting. I wish you could see I've got books stacked up so this camera could be right here. It's never glamorous behind the scenes. And so all of that is a pain in the butt. Totally agree. But here's what's important. Video is where it's at right now. If you want to get ahead of the noise, if you want to stay in the competition and above the competition, there is no doubt in my mind you have to be doing video, whether it be Facebook Live, which to me is the most important video to do right now, but also Instagram stories, Snapchat, Facebook stories now. You've got to just embrace it, even when you feel like you look like an idiot or sound like an idiot. We all don't love to see ourselves on videos, or if you do, good for you. You're incredibly vain, and I wish I was more like that sometimes. But most of us do not like to see ourselves on video. You got to do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I've found with videos is when you put yourself out there, I think you can build up trust a lot more quicker. I can't even speak. See, look,
I'm with ya.
guys, this is not edited, right? I never edit my shows, but you can build up trust with one video a lot more than 100 emails
Oh my
or
gosh.
blog posts.
It's so true. So here's a few things about Facebook Live. The first thing is Facebook favors video. I mean, I've heard some stats that in a year from now, almost all of Facebook will just be video. Who knows if it's true or not, but I've heard it again and again. Mark Zuckerberg is definitely going in that direction. So if your audience is on Facebook, which 99.9% of the time they are, and you are posting video, you're going to get out into the newsfeed. Facebook's going to push you out into the newsfeed. I don't know about you, but I've seen on my own Facebook page, I'll post a static image about my podcast and then some text on top. Maybe 2,000 people will see it. I'll do a 20-minute Facebook Live video. Over 300,000 people will have at least had the chance to see it versus 2,000. So Facebook 100% favors video. And if you want to get seen and heard, you've got to be doing video. I don't mean once a month. I mean at least once a week. So there's so many other benefits. We'll get into that. But really, that's what's the truth.
Yeah. And for all those watching and listening, do not get disappointed when 300,000 people, you're not reaching them in the very beginning.
Okay, good point.
Right?
Yes.
Because,
yes.
like,
glad you said that.
I have to keep reminding myself, being like, when I go live, just guys, like I have a pretty good following, but when I go live, I'll have maybe like 25, 30, 40.
Okay, yes. For the record, I need to clarify that. I'm talking about the reach of that video over time, but like when I'm live, I have a few hundred people, just for the record. I just read Russell Brunson's book, Expert Secrets, and he talked about, and he's like a big shot just along with Frank Kern and all the others. And he talked about his first few videos doing live video, nobody was showing up. But he said it was actually a good thing because I just kept doing it like I had people there and I got better and better. And that's another thing with Facebook Live. You show up and you will definitely get better as time goes by. So you just have to keep showing up. But I've got some tips to help you kind of show up and do it right. You want me to share some of those?
Yeah, perfect. Because
okay.
I bet a lot of these people are tired of getting the bagels and just putting cream cheese on their bagels of zero people showing up.
It's really distracting or frustrating for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing is, if you're going to do a Facebook Live, let's say every single week on your Facebook page, not your profile where your friends are, I'm talking about on your business page, you want to do a little prep work in advance. You want to give that Facebook Live a title so people know what they're showing up for. I say an hour before you go live, you post about it. You jump on Instagram Live or Instagram stories. You tell people you're going live within the hour and you give it a title so they know what they're showing up for. And then when you show up live, I want you to have an outline. I just opened up a Google Doc and I put together a loose outline of how I'm going to start things out, the different points I'm going to go over, maybe a story or two I'm going to tell. And right now, what's working is Facebook favors the longer videos. So I want you to go for at least 20, 25, 30 minutes. Now, that might scare people. Maybe it's something you need to lead up to. But if you, let's say, present on your content for a good 20 minutes, stories, examples, you've got an outline, and then you can just take some questions. Maybe 2 or 3 people will ask a good question. Maybe you can ask a few questions to get some engagement going, but you can get to 30 minutes. I have no doubt in my mind. I talk too much, so I can't get off before 30 minutes. So I've got the other problem. But if Facebook is favoring those longer videos, then do what Facebook wants right now. Staying in the know with what's working on video is just going to beat out all your competition. So that's and then every single week. So another thing I've seen is when I show up every single week, my numbers get better and better. I don't know if Facebook's helping that. It's like the biggest mystery, or if people are just coming to expect that I'm going to show up. But either way, I'm super happy about it.
Are you showing up at the same time? Are you consistent with when you show up? Because I know a lot of times, that's why I love automation and everything we do, because we can automate a lot and we're not required to do everything at a certain schedule, right? It's our own schedule. So like Facebook Live and like having a right time, it's like sometimes like, your cat will pee on something, or something stupid happens that puts you in a bad mood, and you're like, I don't want to go Facebook Live. Like, I'm in a bad mood. So,
so this morning, we're recording this in advance because you are amazing at batching. So I'm really proud of you for that. But I had to pay taxes, and it was off by $100,000. There was a mistake, but at first I didn't know it was a mistake, and I'm like, how could this happen? Well, I had video to do this morning, even before this, and I was in such a rotten mood, like, what is going on? luckily I found the mistake. But before that, you're right. Things happen and I couldn't even think straight. Like I felt like fire was coming out of my head at that moment. But here's the deal. This is why it is important. If you can show up, a lot of people, really smart people, are doing shows right now where they're doing Facebook Live shows. Michael Hyatt, Jill and Josh from Screw the 9 to 5 are doing this. I think Pat Flynn's going to do it, where they're showing up a certain day and a certain time every single week for their Facebook Live show. And there's a reason why they do that. When people know what date and time you're going to show up, they're more likely to get into that habit with you. So I know it kind of sucks that if you have a bad day and you get a wrong tax bill or whatever it might be, that you're not in the mood, but it is a big deal to show up same time, same day.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh man, I feel for you just for the taxes. I've gone through that a couple times.
Freaked out. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you got to move
money around. But then I was really braggy when I found out it was a mistake and I figured it out. My husband's like, okay, congratulations, I get it. I wouldn't shut up.
Oh, yeah. But I do agree with you on the consistency because, yeah, if you can get your customers and your clients and your prospects in a routine, right? There's a reason why I launched this show every 7 a.m. on Wednesdays. Right? It's just everybody knows. And if I disappear, it's kind of like Seth Godin. Like you don't know if you're important until you stop. And then people are asking, well, what happened?
Exactly. It's so true. Once in a great while, I'll miss a Thursday podcast and people will ask me like, oh, I think there's a mistake. And I'll feel so bad, but also realize, wait a second, people are really listening. Yeah. So I agree. Same time, same place every single week.
Yeah. All right. And then is there any special technology that they need, right? Because now you can do it off the browser, right?
Yes. So let's talk about that. I love the idea of doing your Facebook Lives from your desktop off the browser, because when you're just doing it on your iPhone like this and you're trying to record yourself, let's say it's on a tripod, I'm aging myself here, but the comments are tiny. They used to not be that little, and now I'm getting older and I can't see them as well. But when you've got the phone really far from you, it's really hard to get that engagement. So a few quick tricks that I like. One, I love doing it from my desktop. I use a tool called Wirecast. Okay. I get a little bit more sophisticated with it because I do a lot of Facebook Live inside of my paid Facebook groups, like 3 or 4 times a week. So I use Wirecast, and you can look it up, and it's like $500. But the cool thing is I'm able to show my face, and then if I want, I can show my screen and do some tutorials, show some slides on a PowerPoint or whatever it might be. But let's say you don't want to get fancy like that. Using your desktop is a great idea, and then pulling up your Facebook page on your phone and looking at the comments this way, now it feels more controllable. Here's another little silly trick I do. Every time I go live, I have one gal on my team, Lindsay, send me a thumbs up when she can hear me and see me okay. We all work virtually, but I've got to have one person on my team. I'll go and I'll keep going. But as soon as I get that little thumbs up, I'm like, okay, we're good.
We've all done that, right?
Right?
Record for a half hour and no audio.
Don't get me started. You make a great point that we have all made a million mistakes with Facebook Live. I've recorded forever thinking I was live and I wasn't. I've lost connection completely and had to start over on my Facebook page. I couldn't get the Facebook Live to end. So this is what I did. I don't know what I was thinking. It was over. I took my camera and put it down. Why I didn't unplug it, I don't know. Well, the camera was facing another mirror. So I'm talking to my project manager like, what's going on? Da-da-da. They're seeing everything. All of that stuff is going to happen, and it's still worth doing every single week because the rewards outweigh any tech issues and nothing's new. Whatever happens to you, it's been done before. Your audience has seen it been done before. You just have to manage your emotions and your physical self around it. Like, stay calm and just fix it. And believe me, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah. And you guys just gotta be okay with going in the front. I mean, if you guys, everybody listening is, worrying about leads, and you guys are depending on referrals, and you want to build trust rather than just kind of be that person that just sends them to a landing page and be like, give me your email address, and then I'll send you a toolkit. They have to see you. They have to interact. They have to feel that they know you. And there's not much of a better way right now as with live video, because it tells a story, and we're all storytellers. And if you can tell this compelling story, they're going to connect with you. And no matter, and you don't have to, and don't, here's probably the other thing too, is when I first got it started, I thought I had to be other people. And I had to be, someone else's personality. Did you feel that way when you got started?
Oh, yes, I totally get it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of come into your own, right? And there's nothing better than feeling like, okay, this is just me. And it's funny you bring that up because there's no platform better than live video to kind of force you just to be yourself. Because when things happen, mistakes happen, you get nervous, you kind of just come back to yourself because that's all you know. Whereas when everything's perfect, you can pretend to be someone else, but not when things are kind of not going so well.
Yeah.
And so I think those nerves that I had about doing live video allowed me just to be who I am, have fun with it, kind of laugh it off when it happens. And I love that you don't edit the show. So I edit my podcast when I mess up. And the fact that you don't, I bet that makes you even better on video and audio because you just go with it. And I think there's something to be said about that.
Well, it just, the reason I don't edit it is to show people that we do make mistakes and it's never perfect. And you just let it go, because I think that's the biggest fear that so many people have is like, look, I'm not you, Jason. I don't want to be on front of it. Well, I don't want to be in front of video either. I mean, just to be honest with you, things stress me out. The UPS guy, you can see him walking up and like I'm in the office, or my cat walks and just showing you his rear end. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen, but that's what makes it real, and people are going to trust you. Because I felt like if you edit so much of it, then anybody can look the best.
You're right.
And so, but when you put yourself out there, your clients are going to trust you because they know you're not going to be perfect. And I think you're going to separate yourself from all the other Me Too agencies out there because
completely.
So many people are just faking it, and it's hard to fake this.
It's very hard to fake this. And I would guess that there's not a lot of marketing agencies really embracing Facebook Live just yet. Would you agree?
I'm trying to find one. If you guys are listening and you guys are doing this, let me know. I'll feature you.
That is so cool. And there's very little, Jason, you and I can get into that we would be the first to market with, the industries we're in. But if you're a marketing agency and you find a way to every week show up on Facebook Live and use things like Insta Stories, Facebook Stories, Snapchat, if that's your thing, oh my gosh, you're just going to be different from everybody else. And there's so much freaking noise out there. Take advantage of it. Well, put all those fears aside. Do it anyway.
Yeah. The only one I could think of is VaynerMedia. Obviously, Gary V's. Right. But I'm not counting him.
Right. I don't feel like you can count God. I mean, you just can't.
I mean, he's a machine. But look what he's built. I mean, he's got the Planet apps. And guys, he's done this day in, day out. I mean, he did this with Wine Library for years. For 3 years, I think he was telling us that he did before people actually started watching. So could you commit that much time? And I bet if you guys did this, if you guys took the Amy and Jason challenge and you committed to doing a live show for the next 52 weeks, I guarantee you your show would be, or your business would be dramatically different in a good way.
I love this. I love it. Take the challenge. This is the kind of movement and action that gets big results. So I think that's awesome. You got to keep me updated if anyone comes back to you in 52 weeks and tells you they did it. We need to get them a prize or something.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I love stories like that. Like when people they'll hear you speak at some places and then it'll transform them, and then it transform other people that they're actually helping, which is...
Yes, I live for it.
I mean, that's why we do it, right?
Yep. So true.
Well, is there anything I did not ask you about Facebook Live that we can tell our audience?
Oh, yeah. I'm actually glad you asked that. One of my very favorite things about Facebook Live is that when you do Facebook Lives on your Facebook page, you are actually creating amazing audiences to retarget with your Facebook ads. So I recently did a big promo for somebody else, and we analyzed the numbers. It was a great success. I promoted somebody else's product. We analyzed the numbers afterwards, and we used a lot of Facebook advertising and realized that my strongest Facebook ad targeting group were all of my video views from my Facebook Lives that I did every single week for a month at the same time, same place, especially for this promo. And so not my email list, not my own Facebook fans, not other fans, but my video views. So if you don't have a lot of Facebook fans, you don't have a huge email list, those video views, if they watch it for 3 seconds, that counts. Now you can retarget all the video views with other Facebook ads for your promos, your free giveaways, whatever it might be. So I feel like that's like a hidden secret people aren't really tapping into yet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about the kind of almost the user experience, right? Because you can build your audience for like 1 penny. Like
yes,
literally,
exactly.
like people are spending $10 for a lead in order to have the opportunity to get shitty response on email, right? Like
right.
20% open rate and maybe a 5% click-through rate if you're lucky.
I was gonna say if you're really lucky.
Yeah, and as your audience gets bigger, that shit goes down and down.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what Amy's talking about, guys, is Facebook will allow you to capture that audience. And then you can even segment out the audiences even more, like 25% watch, 50%, 75%, or
yes.
man, if they watch the whole thing, and then you can know how active they are. And then you can kind of move them along. And it really, I mean, that's how my marketing works, guys. And I don't do much Facebook Live. And the cool thing is you don't need an email list. You don't even need a landing page. You don't need anything.
No.
You just go live.
Yes.
And talk about something good.
Exactly. So there's a very small barrier to entry, and the rewards are so big in so many ways. So definitely, I want you guys to embrace this and say, I'm going to do it. I would love it if your audience would say, okay, in the next 48 hours, we're going live. We're just going to do it. We're going to take the plunge. We're going to create a small outline. You don't need great technology. You were talking about technology. The one thing I didn't mention is I use a Logitech video camera. So I don't know what you use. What do you use?
I'm literally just using my crappy one on my laptop.
On your computer. There you go. So you look great. So that works. I use a Logitech. I got it on Amazon. So you do not need a lot of crazy technology. And if you get in front of a window, you've got the natural lighting, so you don't have to worry about the stupid light kit, which I hate very much. So it's a pain in the butt. So you can low barrier to entry, and it's done deal.
Yeah. And the other thing, the last thing I'll tell you guys is make sure you know who your audience you're going after. If you're going after this broad audience, there's not going to be many people that relate to you. Like if you say I'm going after small business, that's not a target. You got to and don't look at like where, if you wanted to go after Amy's audience, right? Or my audience, don't look at where we start, finished or where we're at now. Look at where we started, kind of like Facebook, right? College, more schools, then the ex-boyfriends and girlfriends stalking each other. So, right? So do you believe in that? Like knowing your audience, like really huge.
I mean, you've got to, and in my world, we call it your ideal customer avatar, your ICA, and you've got to know them inside and out. And I was reading this other book recently that said, like, you've got to get even more specific than you think you are right now. Like dig even deeper. We've heard it a million times. The riches are in the niches. And it really is true. You've got to get extremely specific about who you're targeting, and your Facebook Live topics, if they're really specific, you're going to find that perfect audience. You could do a Facebook Live and then run ads to it later, since they live on beyond your page or beyond being live on your page. So you can find your audience through your Facebook Live as well with some good targeting. Yeah.
And I can't tell you how much Amy is right on the headline of your Facebook Live. Like if it just says Facebook Live or like whatever, you're toast. But if you can like create like something like, I always use like this of like how to do something cool without doing something that sucks. Like
totally.
Put that template in there.
Do this without doing that. Yes.
And then people will be like, I'm in. So.
Good tip. I like that one.
Awesome. Well, how can people find you if they want to know more about you? Because you have an amazing podcast as well that they can learn more about this stuff too.
Well, thanks for asking. So the podcast is Online Marketing Made Easy, and you can just find me at amyporterfield.com. And thanks for having me on the show. I'm so glad we finally got to connect.
Oh yeah, no, it's been years of me following what you've been doing for a long time, so I'm happy to have you on.
So happy. Take care.
All right, thanks.